Here in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain how to play You Shook Me All Night Long by AC/DC. Now here, I am playing with a Fender Stratocaster and a distortion pedal. If you want to match the sound of this song, you will want to be playing a Les Paul with a distortion pedal. But here I'm going to teach how to play the song. The notes are the same no matter what guitar you play it on. But like I said, if you want to match the tone of Angus Young, you will probably want to play this with a Les Paul. Now, throughout my explanation here, I'm going to refer to my strings by their letter names. The top string is the low E, the second from the top is the A, the third from the top I will refer to as the D string, the fourth from the top is the G, the fifth from the top is the B, and my bottom string is known as the high E string. I'm in standard tuning, and what I'm going to do here is I'm first going to play the introduction in roll speed and then I'll break it down. But first, here's the introduction played in roll speed. Now for the introduction here, I've broken it down into three parts. In part one, we begin by forming what is known as a G5 open position power chord. And in this position here, what we're going to do to form this chord is you're going to take your pointer finger and you're going to lay it flat on the neck of the guitar so that you bar across your B and your high E strings here at the 3rd fret. So I've got my pointer finger laid flat there. It's firmly pressing down across my bottom 2 strings at the 3rd fret. And what we're going to do here to begin in part one is we're going to strum from our D string down. So the notes in this chord will be the open D string, the open G, and then the 3rd fret of both the B and the high E string. And like I said, this chord is known as a G5 open position power chord. We'll strum our bottom 4 strings and let them ring out for a second. It will sound like this. And then following that, what's going to happen is, for the most part of part one of this introduction, you're going to leave your pointer finger right there where it is, where it's barred across your B and your high E at the 3rd fret. So leave your pointer finger right there. What you want to do next is you want to take either your pinky or your ring finger, take one of the other, it doesn't matter, but take one of the other and place one of them on the 5th fret of your high E string. And now once you've done that, we're then going to once again strum from the D string down. Here, the notes that we will be playing will be the open D string, the open G. Now we're playing the 3rd fret of the B still, and we're playing the 5th fret of the high E string. So that will sound like this. So far all together here in part one, we have this played slowly. And then following that, what you're going to do is you're going to pick your pinky or your ring finger out of the way, and your pointer finger is still barred there at the 3rd fret across the B and the high E string. What we're going to do next is you're going to pick the high E string 2 times. Then you're going to pick the B string 1 time. Then you're going to pick the high E string 1 more time. So far all together here in part one of the introduction, we have this played slowly. And then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to move your pointer finger down 1 fret so that now you're at the 2nd fret here. Now the note that we were going to be playing next will be the 2nd fret of the high E string. What I do is, since I had my pointer finger barred, I just move my pointer finger down. I continue to bar across the B and the high E, even though I'm not going to be playing my B string. So I've moved my pointer finger down 1 fret. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick the high E string only. I'll be playing the 2nd fret of the high E. It will sound like this. So far all together in part one, we have this played slowly. And then what you're going to do is you want to take your middle finger and place it on the 3rd fret of your B string. Play that note 1 time. And then following that, you're going to play the open D string. And that will end the first part of the introduction. To play the open D will sound like this. So that's part one. Part one played all together and slowly. Part one played in roll speed. And now moving into part two, what we're going to do is we're going to form another open position power chord. Here, this chord is going to be known as a D5 open position power chord. Here in this position, we're going to play it by taking our ring finger and placing it here on the 3rd fret of your B string. And then you want to take your pointer finger and place it on the 2nd fret of your G. So the two notes that I currently have pressed down are the 2nd fret of the G with my pointer finger, and then the 3rd fret of my B string with my ring finger. And now what I'm going to do to begin in part two is I'm going to pick my D, my G, and my B strings together. The three notes that I will be playing there will be the open D string, the 2nd fret of the G, and the 3rd fret of the B. That will sound like this to begin part two. And then after I've done that, throughout part two of the introduction, you're going to leave your pointer finger and your ring finger right there where they are. So you leave those two fingers there. What you're going to do next is you're going to take your middle finger and place it on the 3rd fret of your D string, and you're going to pick that note one time. And then following that, you're going to then pick the G and the B strings together. So all in all, here in part two, we have this played slowly. And then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to, like I said, you'll leave your pointer finger and ring finger right where they are. Place your middle finger onto the 3rd fret of your D string. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick that note, the 3rd fret of the D, and after you've picked it, you're going to take your pinky and you're going to hammer on to the 4th fret of your D. That will sound like this played slowly. And to look at that hammer on from this angle right here, it looks like this. So far, all together here, in part two, we have this played slow. And now after you've hammered on from the 3rd fret of your D to the 4th fret of the D string, what you're going to do then is you will once again pick the G and the B strings together. Those two notes have not changed. It's still the 2nd fret of the G and the 3rd fret of the B. To play those two together will sound like this. All together here in part two, we have this played slow. And then after that, what you're going to do is you're going to once again pick the 3rd fret of your D string one time. And then to end this part, you'll pick your middle finger up off the board and you'll play the D string open. And that ends part two. Part two played all together in slow. Part two played in roll speed. Parts one and two of the introduction played together in roll speed.